What if you could journey through generations, not just seeing names and dates, but truly understanding the lives, the challenges, and maybe even the surprising connections of your ancestors?
Mm.
That's exactly the kind of deep dive we're taking today. We're immersing ourselves in Connecting Our Kin, a really rich family history book.
Yeah, it sounds fascinating. A personal chronicle, right? Spanning centuries and continents.
Exactly. It's one family's journey, very detailed.
So our mission today basically is to pull out the most compelling stories, maybe some surprising revelations from this unique source.
Think of it as a shortcut, maybe,
Yeah,
to the human stories behind all the charts and dates.
right. We want to get to those aha moments, the things that show how individual lives kind of weave into the bigger picture of history.
Okay, so where does a journey like this even begin? For the author, it seems it all started very personally, like a discovery in their mother-in-law's house, Frances Reeves Young.
Mm.
Imagine finding these thick binders
Oh, yeah.
full of handwritten charts, but also these little notes scribbled in the margins. Stuff like Uncle Oscar was 6'7".
Those little notes are gold, aren't they? They really bring people to life, more than just a name.
Totally.
And it shows how genealogy started for so many people,
Yeah.
Really manual, hands-on.
Yeah.
The author's own interest was also sparked earlier when their grandmother Carol was contacted back in the 60s by a retired colonel.
Oh, researching the Rohrbaugh family, right?
Exactly. It's like the history was sort of calling out to them.
And what a commitment it turned into. Starting with those traditional paper forms, asking living relatives for help, binder after binder.
I can just picture the stacks of paper.
Seriously. And apparently the author disliked handwriting so much they kept retyping everything.
Wow. That tells you something about the dedication, doesn't it? Before all the digital tools we have now.
It really does.
It speaks volumes about their passion. That painstaking process, it wasn't just work, it was a real connection, something digital might simplify but maybe not fully replace.
Good point.
Yeah.
The effort itself becomes part of the story.
Right. And then things opened up a bit. Company transfers in the 80s meant chances to visit big genealogy libraries.
Iowa, Washington, Oklahoma, Texas.
Yep. Building up this huge binder of documents, photocopies, sharing it at family reunions.
This is where it gets really interesting, I think. The shift to technology.
The early internet.
Yeah, a whole new way to share. And the author didn't just use the web. They built their first site with HTML.
Learning from places like RootsWeb's resources. That's pretty pioneering for family history back then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Literally coding their family history online.
It was a huge leap. And then later, using YSI-YG software.
What you see is what you get, like front page.
Exactly. Made it easier to manage, update the site without coding every little thing. And this led to connecting with lots of cousins online.
Some even came to the reunions in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah. So technology didn't just make it efficient, it sort of democratized it, made it more collaborative, less solitary.
Totally changed the game from just individual research to like a shared discovery.
Definitely reshaped how we connect with ancestors.
And then around 2012, the move to Ancestry.com.
Which is a massive platform now.
Transferring all that data, writing stories, uploading, what was it, 1,500 pictures?
Yeah, a huge undertaking, plus using other sites like the World Connect Project and Find a Grave.
The Connecting Our Kin virtual cemetery. That's quite a concept, making memorials accessible online.
It is. And the book itself, the printed version, started in 2017 after retiring. It has a specific focus.
Right, mostly for siblings, maybe a PDF online. More about the stories than every single tiny detail.
Exactly. The really specific data is still there on Ancestry. The book centers on 4 main surnames: Carroll, Rohrbaugh, Lingle, and Ballou.
Plus biographies, memories, blog posts, a real collection.
Okay, so let's dive into those threads, starting with the Carroll lineage.
Sounds good. He goes back to Nathan Carroll Sr., possibly born 1777, and he got a land grant near Henryville, Indiana.
From President James Buchanan, no less, July 1857.
That's a direct link to presidential history right there.
It really is. And what's interesting is how these individual stories link up to bigger historical movements. Nathan's grandson, Henry Hamilton Carroll.
Born 1868 in Indiana.
He really embodies that westward expansion story. Moved through Missouri, settled in Payne County, Oklahoma, 1897.
A farmer, a stockman.
And he even provided teams of mules for railroad construction. Think about that. Helping build the nation's infrastructure.
Wow. And later in life, a conversion experience at the Drumright Assembly of God Church.
Yeah. But while he kind of embodied that expansion spirit, his personal life also shows the real challenges of the time.
His family story is quite poignant, isn't it? First marriage to Nancy Josephine Rorabaugh in 1888. 6 kids.
But then tragedy strikes. Nancy died in 1903 after a fall, late in her 8th pregnancy.
Leaving Henry with all those young children.
It really makes you think, doesn't it, about the practicalities, the family dynamics back then. Because in 1904, Henry married Nancy's sister, Eliza Jane Rorabaugh.
Who was only 18, just 3 years older than his oldest son.
Incredible. But she stepped into that role, became mother to his existing kids, had 7 more of her own.
A homemaker, Assembly of God member, lived in their Drumright home until 1966.
It's the sort of unspoken solution highlighting the necessity and the community bonds that shaped families back then.
A tough reality. Okay, shifting from the Carrolls to the Rorabaughs, this saga goes back even further.
Way back to Klaus Rohrbach, born 1565 in Germany, a line of bakers, innkeepers.
Amazing to trace things that far.
It really shows the deep historical roots some families have. The immigrant ancestor, Johann Reinhard Rohrbach, came over in 1749.
Right, age 50.
Settled in Pennsylvania. His son, John Conrad Rohrbach, born in Germany, was only 9 when they immigrated, and he changed the spelling to Rohrbach.
Ah, the Americanization of the name, common practice.
Yep, and this John Rohrbach, he made some real contributions. During the Revolution, his farm in West Virginia provided supplies, pasturage, corn for the militia.
And that became the basis for DR membership for his descendants? Daughters of the American Revolution.
Exactly, a significant point of pride. And unbelievably, his farm still exists today, owned by a direct descendant.
That's incredible continuity.
The family kept moving west, though. John Rohrbach Jr. left West Virginia using those Virginia land grants.
Right, 400 acres for building a cabin and planting a crop, plus rights to buy another 1,000 acres first.
Shows that powerful pull of the frontier, the government incentives driving it all.
And speaking of memorable figures, John Mitchell Rorabaugh, born 1837.
The peddler.
Yes. Famous for his Rorabaugh salve,
Yeah.
claimed to cure everything from cuts to rheumatism. You can just picture him.
A real frontier entrepreneur type. But his wife, Mary Ellen Clark, her story is truly remarkable.
Married at 13, had 13 children with him.
But then her strength really shines through. She divorced John Mitchell. Why? Because of the dangers of his peddler life. There was an incident.
A child nearly drowned when their raft tipped over.
Exactly. She put her kids' safety first, even if it meant defying norms.
That's amazing resilience for that time. And then in 1893, she homesteaded in Oklahoma.
Declaring herself a widow on the forms to get the land, even though she was divorced.
Wow. Talk about determination.
She established a whole working farm from scratch. Shack, house, wells, stable, orchard, crops. Incredible self-sufficiency.
Just amazing.
Her life is just this powerful lesson in resourcefulness. She later remarried, divorced again, and then married Aaron Bennett Rohrabaugh.
Her first husband's younger brother.
Yes. She died of cancer in 1916. Her obituary was found by a stranger, a real gift to the author, piecing together this incredible life.
And her youngest daughter, Eliza Jane, the one who married Henry Carroll, apparently sought her comfort during pregnancies.
Yeah.
Shows the love and respect she commanded.
Absolutely. Mary Ellen Clark's story. I mean, what can you learn about navigating hardship, challenging norms, just surviving on the frontier? It's a masterclass.
Truly. Okay, let's pick up the Lingle and Blue threads now.
Mm-hmm.
The Lingles, their American roots are tied to the German Reformed Church.
Mm-hmm. Settled in Pennsylvania, then moved south to Rowan County, North Carolina. Lawrence Lingle sold land for the Lower Stone Church there in 1774.
And descendants served in the War of 1812.
Right, getting land in southern Illinois as payment. That's why there's a big Lingle population there.
The author's great-grandfather, James Wilson Lingle, came from those Illinois Lingles. He had arthritis, ran small grocery stores with his son, Everett.
Everett Houston Lingle, born 1894, also a farmer grocer, later ran a service station in Watts, Oklahoma.
And he married Eva Ballou in 1913. They were both just 19.
Starting their family young. Now, the Ballou side. Lots of spellings. Blue, Ballou.
And a possible link to royalty. Witikind the Great, who fought Charlemagne.
Yeah, a historian suggested it. It's maybe a distant link, but still a pretty cool historical claim.
For sure, the earliest choice ones are Marvel and Heathy Ballou in South Carolina.
And then William Decatur Ballou, the author's great-great-grandfather. Get this, 20 children across 2 marriages.
20, wow. 10 with Lorena Devers, 10 with Melissa Jane Bray.
Imagine that family tree. His son, William Andrew Ballou, had railroad experience before moving to Missouri, another connection to the transportation boom.
Eva Cleora Ballou, Everett's wife, born 1894 in Missouri. She was a twin.
Mm-hmm. She and Everett moved to Salem Springs, Arkansas after 1915, raised 6 kids. Lived near Drumright for a bit in the 50s, too.
She sounds like she had deep faith. That requested epitaph. Weep not children for me, for I will be waiting in glory for thee. Very moving.
It really speaks volumes, and the story gets even more interwoven with the Felkins and Anderson-Kelton lines.
The Felkins line, through Sarah Jane Felkins, goes back to Henry Felkins, born 1695 in Virginia.
And several Felkins' ancestors also served in the War of 1812. Sarah Jane herself had 2 marriages, lots of children, a common pattern.
And the Anderson-Kelton connection was uncovered through Goodspeed's Histories of Arkansas, like a bit of genealogical detective work.
Finding a mention of Rachel M. Anderson, sister of Harriet Lavina Anderson, helped trace back to James Madison Anderson and Martha Jane Kelton.
What's really touching is the author only had faint childhood memories of great-grandmother Harriet Lavina Anderson.
Right. Who lived with her son Everett Lingle at the end of her life. So that historical find bridged a gap between a distant past and a living memory.
These connections are fascinating. Now, moving beyond the lines on the chart, the book gets really personal with recollections of the author's parents.
Yeah. Woodrow Wilson Carroll, the author's father.
Woody recalled his own father, Henry Hamilton Carroll, as well. Mean.
Oof. Tough description.
Said he was mostly interested in how much work his sons could do. Would travel to buy cattle, send the boys home to work, then return with lame excuses and new boots.
Wow. Woody ran away at 13. It paints a picture of really harsh parenting. Common for the time, maybe, but still harsh.
Definitely a different era. But he remembered his mother, Eliza Jane, as good-hearted, took the kids to church, used buckberry switches for discipline.
Mm-hmm. And Woody left school after 7th grade to work on the farm. Felt too old to go back later. A familiar story for many back then.
Survival came first. But here's a great detail. His first car, a 1928 model of Ford Coupe. His father bought it for him for $350 after Woody planted 10 acres of cotton.
Which yielded $100 a bale, so a good deal for his dad, but Woody got a car out of it.
Right. A glimpse into those economic realities.
He also worked the Oklahoma oil fields, earning 40 cents an hour, admitted to making moonshine sometimes, too.
A bit of everything. Then WWII service, inducted in 44.
Served in Europe, 137th Engineering Combat Battalion, purifying water on the Rhine, sleeping in concrete crypts. Earned 2 battle stars.
He was even featured in the local paper's Victory in Europe edition, connected to huge world events.
Absolutely. After the war, back to Service Pipeline, family grew to 6 kids, and he bought the original Carroll farm.
The 40 acres. By trading his house in town for it with his parents. What a way to keep the land in the family.
It really is, but life had struggles. Skin cancers from oil tank work forced a career change to dump truck hauling.
His marriage to Ella ended in divorce, described as very difficult years.
He loved horses, though, right? Had up to 9 at one point, sold a barrel pony for $4,000.
Yeah. But then, tragedy later in life. In 82, became permanently blind. An eye virus, wrong medication.
Oh, terrible. Resulted in a malpractice settlement. He died in 97 after a stroke, buried with military honors. Quite a life story. Resilience through hardship.
Definitely. Now let's turn to Ella Iola Lingle, the author's mother, born in a peach orchard. What a start.
Ha! That's a lovely detail. Early life involved moves, places like the Kinsey place.
Where her brave sister Willie got cookies from a reclusive neighbor.
And the Dunlap place, a big 3-story house where her mom played the organ and aunt sang hymns. Sounds like a lively musical home.
Her childhood memory sounds so vivid, too.
Yeah.
A pet graveyard with a kitten's funeral.
Ah, that shows a really tender side. And playing church, imitating tent revivals, riding home in a wagon.
She had a special bond with her daddy, Everett. He teased and played with her, even with all the farm work. Her mama, Eva, was always busy with housework.
Reflects those traditional roles, doesn't it?
It does. She met Woodrow after 8th grade and some college while she was caring for his mother, Eliza Carroll.
Ah, so that's how they met.
And she had 6 children. The book has these wonderful little stories about their births.
Like Bobby's jaundice, Phyllis born in frozen clothes, Donna arriving before the doctor.
Jane's difficult birth, Jerry's delivery where a neighbor claimed credit, Billy born while other kids were farmed out.
Yeah.
Little windows into life back then.
Absolutely. Challenges and community support all mixed together.
Faith was clearly central for her.
Yeah.
Baptist, then Assembly of God, taught Sunday school, Vacation Bible School.
Passed those values on. And later in life, after the divorce from Woody, she worked, moved, then reconnected with a childhood acquaintance, Clarence Cummingdeer.
They got married, enjoyed travel, fishing, gardening, even got their high school equivalency certificates together.
That shows a real lifelong love of learning. After a second divorce, she lived with daughters, then a nursing home, passed away at 92.
Her kids remembered her for unfailing loyalty, uncondemning nature, bringing joy. What a legacy.
A legacy of strength and compassion, for sure.
These personal stories really make the family tree feel alive, and the author's own childhood memories are so tied to these people.
Yeah, Grandma Carol's home. He describes it so vividly. Weathered, unpainted house, porch swing, honeysuckle, hand-drawn well, the smokehouse, chicken house.
You can almost smell the honeysuckle, right? And picture Grandma's garden, petunias, vegetables, making dolls from hollyhocks.
Simple joys from a different time. The pumpkin patch excitement. And Grandma calling him Jimmy Boy, singing in the swing, walking to the mailbox. Such a strong bond.
The family moving to the old farmhouse in 1952 was a big deal, trading houses so the grandparents could be closer to town.
And his childhood had its share of bumps and scrapes, cracking a collarbone, playing crack the whip.
Treated by Dr. W.O. Starr, the full-blood Cherokee doctor who paraded in Indian attire. What a character.
And cutting his neon glass after the house was sprayed for flies. Yikes. Close neighbors the Browns. Aunt May and Uncle Brian bringing a crepe paper clown.
And a scary memory of his mother falling on ice must have been frightening.
Definitely. Farm life was central, though. Playing near the refinery, hauling water before the well, gardening, baling hay with horses and early machines.
And Old Red, the pickup truck, almost like part of the family.
He remembers his Lingle grandparents living nearby for a bit. Grandpa Lingle dug a well for running water, huge improvement.
And that memory of getting whipped for finding horses, while the cousins didn't, highlights different family rules.
It does. The story ends noting the changes in drumright after the refinery declined, but Freddie's grocery enduring and the family farm, over 100 years old now, still feeling like home.
Drumright, Oklahoma. It's clearly more than just a place in this story. It's a character itself.
Absolutely. It remains home for the author, even after moving away. Parades, rodeos, church, businesses, high school, all part of the fabric.
And the book introduces some truly unforgettable drumright people who influenced the family.
Like Dr. Orange W. Starr. Not just a local legend, he was their doctor, the one who fixed the collarbone.
Parading in Indian dress, sending personal notes,
Yeah.
he definitely left an impression.
And Virgil R. Cooper, the elementary school principal and coach for 29 years, influenced all the author's siblings. Honored later for his dedication, made a real difference.
Seems like it. Then Reverend and Mrs. M.A. Malone from the First Assembly of God.
Spiritual mentors. Reverend Malone, the old-time preacher singing That One Lost Sheep. His study, A Place of Prayer.
And Sister Malone, love personified, a great cook, building Sunday school classes by cooking hamburgers.
Now that's creative outreach. You can see why Vacation Bible School was such a big deal back then.
2 weeks in summer, 150, 200 kids. The pledges, music, crafts, Bible lessons, and that rivalry between boys and girls for the offering.
The girls always won. It sounds like a really formative community experience.
It does. And then there's Emma E. Aiken, a teacher remembered for her huge impact on Drumright's black community.
In charge of rural schools like Dunbar, the black school, and she wrote textbooks specifically for black children with black illustrations. That's incredibly significant.
Especially considering the challenges described. No oil field work for black residents, limited access to facilities, but resilience too. The Smith Bros, Battery Shop, Principal Joe S. Johnson, whose team won a state title without a gym.
Yeah, and the author's family witnessed that shift in 1956 when schools began integrating. A pivotal moment.
And connecting all these threads is Eileen Caulfield Huff, the ultimate drum writer.
Devoted her life to the town. Historian, writer, public information director, gave tours.
And she was taught by Emma Aiken, knew the authors Uncle Brian and Grandpa Ham Carroll, a living link to their past.
Amazing connection. And finally, Bullfrog Charlie.
What a name. A gifted animal imitator. Mad bulls, coon dogs, pigs, chickens, but especially bullfrogs.
Entertained crowds at park programs in the 30s. Just pure joy.
His backstory is quite something, though. Charlie Ayler, taken in by a family after his stepfather kicked him out. No formal schooling, but self-educated.
Had that distinctive, deep, raspy voice. Worked in a Texas refinery during WWII. But his legacy was that bullfrog imitation. So good, they said local frogs were shamed into silence.
A true local legend who brought some light during tough times.
Okay, wrapping up this deep dive, let's touch on a few final specific family stories that connect things.
Like the different spellings of Carol, Irish origins, Gaelic spellings. Explains why the author always had to spell it out.
A common thing for genealogists, right? Shows migration, language changes, And that 2008 Carroll Farm reunion sounds important.
75 family members gathering after the author's mother passed, keeping connections alive. Plus, the farm recognized as a 100-year Oklahoma farm.
A real anchor. The author also mentions a trip to New Mexico with Chrissy, looking for her great-grandparents' ranch.
Yeah, shows that adventurous spirit. Maybe learned from shooting prairie dogs as a kid.
Huh, possibly. And Aunt Sylvia, the father's sister who lived to 90, a shy buddy to the author, a source of info remembered for her laugh. A living link.
And connecting with new cousins online, like Sandy Helms, granddaughter of his grandmother's twin sister, Elja.
Seeing photos of those twin grandmothers, Elja and Eva Ballou, must have been amazing. Really brings them to life.
Landmarks hold memories, too. That catalpa tree at Grandma Carol's old place.
Even though the house is gone, the tree is like a monument, recalling laughter and work. Powerful symbol.
And the family story keeps going, of course.
Mm-hmm.
New births, like Ella Mae Gray Short and Knox Joseph Franks. New generations adding chapters.
It does. Memories of Uncle Brian and Aunt May also add color. The welder who traveled, their tiny house hosting Thanksgiving, Aunt May's famous chicken and dumplings.
Their modern house later, Uncle Brian's work ethic, his colorful language away from the women.
Aunt May passing, Brian remarrying quickly because he couldn't live alone, their quiet faith later in life. Real human stories.
Aunt Nina, too, the mother's youngest sister, turning 80, living near the author's family for a while. Grandpa Lingle digging that well.
And that memory again of being punished for the horses when cousins weren't. Small details, but they reveal a lot.
A very personal touch. That poem, A Vision of Calvary, written by Aunt Willie, found among his mother's things.
A deep reflection on faith passed down.
And that genealogical detective work using Goodspeed's histories. Finding Harriet Anderson's maiden name through her brother-in-law's entry shows how interconnected records can be.
It really does. And for the genealogy buffs listening, that little discussion about granduncle versus great-uncle.
Right. Why purists prefer granduncle for a grandparent's brother? A fun detail.
And Vernon Ballou, a granduncle who worked for the railroad. Picture found in a 1915 yearbook, died relatively young.
A reminder, too, that photos from Ella's scrapbooks in the book are online, so you can actually see these people.
So bringing it all together, we've really peeled back the layers of connecting our kin. It's this incredibly personal, yet surprisingly expansive family story.
Pioneers, tradesmen, community figures, people facing tragedy. Every story is a thread in this huge tapestry.
And this deep dive really shows how individual lives, even those lived, quietly, are shaped by and contribute to these big historical currents.
Migrations, wars, economic changes, social shifts.
Yeah.
It's all reflected in these family stories. They're like microhistories.
Absolutely. So as you reflect on these journeys through time that we've discussed, maybe consider your own place in your family's story.
Yeah. What seemingly ordinary things in your life today might be fascinating connections for future generations looking back?
What narrative are you maybe unknowingly creating for your descendants right now?
Something to think about.